Burl is hitting Jamaica. Good evening, I'm Mike Nasa with the latest on this very dangerous Category 4 hurricane impacting the island of Jamaica, going right along its southern coastline there with extremely dangerous winds, storm surge, and rainfall. Here's the latest as of 5 p.m. on Hurricane Beryl. It was at 17.5 north, 77.6 west, moving west-northwest at 20. Maximum sustained winds still 140 miles per hour, making it an extremely dangerous Category 4 hurricane. We'll have some recon aircrafts flying in Beryl throughout the night to give us a better estimate of its intensity, but as of 5 p.m. on Wednesday night, this is still a Category 4 hurricane on its closest approach to the island of Jamaica. I wanted to go through the hurricane warnings because we have a lot of them now, because they're not just for areas of Jamaica anymore. We have a hurricane warning for Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, and Cayman Brac, and we now have a hurricane warning for the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico from Puerto Costa Maya to Cancun here along the Yucatan coastline. We also have a hurricane watch south of there to Chetumal, as well as north of Cancun to Cabo Catoche. So again, if you are along the Yucatan Peninsula here, you now have hurricane watches and warnings because Hurricane Beryl is taking aim at you. Here's the latest visible satellite imagery as the sun goes down. Notice how the eye, even though it's embedded in that cloud shield, you can't really see it, has moved pretty much straight along the southern coastline there of Jamaica. Now, while the center of the center did not cross the coast and have a quote-unquote landfall, boy, are they just getting raked there along the southern coastline of Jamaica. And I showed you that wind field, hurricane force winds impacting areas there of the southern coastline. Thank goodness it's a smaller hurricane. Tropical storm winds all the way over the island, obviously, but the hurricane winds are impacting areas there of the southern coast. There's the radar out of Cuba. It's a Cuban radar, so it looks kind of prehistoric, but we do have the northern eye wall on the coastline there of Jamaica as it moves towards the west-northwest, just hammering them on the south coast. If you look at a map of Jamaica, the areas being impacted here would be areas of Treasure Beach and Alligator Pond, all these little communities. It may not be Kingston, but there's still people there and communities that are getting raked with the eye wall of a Category 4 hurricane. Very, very impressive the way this hurricane has held up in the face of its wind shear it's been dealing with. There's the wind shear map. Again, it's getting cut right through like a knife through butter, but it is not doing anything to the hurricane. It's been able to shield off the shear and remain a Category 4 hurricane longer than I thought it would, and longer than the National Hurricane Center thought. Thought it would be a major hurricane by Jamaica, but probably at least 10, 20 miles an hour weaker than it is right now. So where does this hurricane go from here? Well, this is the HWRF model as of 12Z. It weakens it greatly, impacts the Yucatan Peninsula as a minimal hurricane or even a tropical storm south of the island of Cozumel, moves it back out, re-strengthens it, and has a minimal hurricane landfall somewhere right near the border there, crossing into South Texas. Now that's the HWRF. The GFS models, similar, take it over the Yucatan, weaken it, and then try and strengthen it, and they want to bend it north with a weakness in the high pressure ridge towards northern Mexico or potentially southern Texas. The European ensembles as of 12Z are stronger, and they want to bend it more towards northern Mexico and South Texas as well. So, we seem to be in agreement that it's going to strike the Yucatan and then move into the Gulf, potentially re-strengthen into a hurricane, and strike anywhere from Tampico, Mexico on up towards the middle upper Texas coast. So somewhere in this region, and it's still just too far to rule out a landfall in Texas. Here's the key messages on Hurricane Beryl as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Devastating hurricane winds, life-threatening surge, damaging waves are going to continue in Jamaica over the next several hours, and that will spread into the Cayman Islands tonight. And mountainous locations in Jamaica are going to have stronger wind gusts because of the higher elevations. Number 2, life-threatening flash flooding and mudslides from all the heavy rainfall across much of Jamaica and even southern Haiti. You're still getting in on some of the rain action. Number 3, damaging winds, a dangerous surge, heavy rainfall are going to be for the Yucatan Peninsula and Belize beginning Thursday night as the hurricane moves on through. and we now have those hurricane watches and warnings. And finally, there remains uncertainty in the track and intensity forecast of Beryl over the western Gulf of Mexico. Interest in the western Gulf of Mexico, including southern Texas, should monitor the progress of Beryl. Now, that's for Spanish readers. Again, we just don't know at this point where it's going to head. Right now, it's very ominous. It's a Category 4 hurricane raking the southern coastline of Jamaica. It should weaken further, but still be a decent hurricane when it strikes the Yucatan, and then weaken once it crosses the Yucatan. From there, we just don't know. But again, anywhere from the Texas coastline all the way down to northern Mexico, you guys need to be on the highest level of alert. This is a very persistent, long-tracked Caribbean cruiser, a major hurricane in the month of July, and it has caused a lot of problems throughout the Caribbean, and Mexico is next, followed by somewhere on the western Gulf Coast of Mexico or Texas. So again, we just can't say for sure yet whether or not it's going to be stronger or weaker. If it's stronger, it could bend a little more north. If it's weaker, it could stay a little further to the south. Either way, everybody in the hurricane watch and warning area needs to be ready, and then be on the lookout in the western Gulf of Mexico. We're going to continue to watch this very powerful hurricane currently impacting Jamaica. I'm Mike Naso with the latest on dangerous Hurricane Beryl. I will talk to you next time.